everyone. Piano tuning. Something you have to get done as maintenance on your valued instrument. I have a custom built semi-concert grand here. I actually tune it 4 or 5 times a year, probably because I use it a lot for my composing, all my albums and that I record. I use the piano for. We have an upright piano here as well. It probably gets tuned maybe only once a year, and that's what should happen. With piano tuning, you need to get it tuned once a year. Okay, if your piano is on the older side, if it's got a few years on it, you might look at getting it tuned every 2nd year. Now, having said that, my concert grand here, as I said, I tune 4 or 5 times a year. The upright piano that we have here is almost 100 years old, and I still tune it at least once a year. I have a very large professional upright grand, as it's called, because of the size of it. Another upright piano that I have at my parents' house on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, it gets tuned once or twice a year. It doesn't get a lot of use, but it still gets tuned. Now, tuning in a piano is just like when you look at that little tag in the screen of your car on the windscreen and you suddenly realise that your service is coming up or you're overdue for grease and oil change, plugs, whatever it might be, for the 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 kilometre service. Same deal with the piano. You need to have it tuned once a year. That way it steps the piano through the seasons throughout the year and keeps it in pitch, in tune, in pitch, sounding beautiful all year round. Now, the worst thing you can do, of course, is not have your piano tuned. A tuning pin on a piano, about that long. It has a super fine thread on it. The little hole the string goes through, and then the little part where the special tuning tool or tuning hammer, they often call it, even though you're not hitting anything with it, most of the time it's called a tuning hammer. Clicks onto the end. The thread is super fine, goes through the frame, the iron frame, and into the pin block. Modern pianos over the last 40, 50 years are a laminated pin block. Okay, so that means it's many layers of wood with the timber grain, all different angles, which makes it incredibly strong. Pianos from many years ago used to be just the core of like a hardwood tree, one big block. And of course, over time, as it dries out and seasons, it tends to split or crack or something like that. That's why you often in a lot of older pianos have really loose tuning pins. Particularly, there might be a few in a row. That means there's usually a split or something in the pin block. Let me just grab this for you and show you. Okay, sorry about that. This is what I'm talking about. You can see the tuning pins. Okay, you can also see the layers of timber that go together to make the pin block and the tuning pins. You can see how long they are and the super fine thread. It's like running your fingernails down the spine of a book. You can feel the different pages. That's how super fine. Probably just see them there in the film. The little hole there. The string goes through, and then the little socket on the end that the special tool fits onto. Okay, that's an old paperweight from when I worked for SAMIC as their national piano manager in their piano division. So yeah, that's a piece from a piano from the factory floor. So yeah, you have to get your piano done once a year. Now, if you don't, and you leave it 20, 30 years, the record for a piano not being tuned was 1942. I actually had a piano earlier this year and hadn't been tuned since 1942. We don't want that, because what happens then is suddenly all this extra tension is put on the pins, pulling on the strings, and of course all that extra tension on the entire frame and everything inside the piano, you can suddenly start breaking strings, you can cause all sorts of problems. So save yourself the drama of a piano falling to pieces. Get it tuned once a year. I tune pianos all over the state of Tasmania and throughout southeast Queensland, which is kind of about North Brisbane, up through to Maryborough, Bundaberg, right down the coast, Rainbow Beach, of course, Caloundra, Maroochydore, right down the Sunshine Coast Beach, and over the hinterland, over to Woodford and sort of up Maloney, Conondale, right? Huge pocket where I have a lot of piano tuning clients that I've built up over decades of tuning pianos. What else can I tell you? Piano maintenance, servicing a piano, we're doing any internal repairs, being a concert pianist and playing a piano for the last 40 something years. I've played the piano in all across the country and in different places overseas as well, with different bands and orchestras and all sorts of things. So coming from a concert pianist perspective, I know exactly how the keys should feel and how to play, and the way it should sound, the way the hammers might need a little bit of work on them to give it more of a felty, beautiful tone, like I have with my grand and the uprights. So there is a difference in the tone, the sound, and everything once you start getting in and doing a little bit of work on them. All that sort of work, some of it I sort of do when I'm tuning. Of course, if there's something that needs repairing, I'm right there. I normally fix it. Tune and service is another thing that I do, and tune, service, and of course repairs. Okay, and I'm not one of these piano tuners that's tune your piano, say thank you very much and walk out the door and leave you. I actually really enjoy what I do. So if you don't mind, I usually hang around after I finish tuning your piano and give you a little bit of a recital on your piano. I usually stay there for another 10, 15 minutes. I do take requests. So if you have a favorite song or a popular song, let me know. I'll play it for you. I've even had clients that I've mentioned that to, and they've invited some of their neighbours around for a cup of tea and cake, like of an afternoon when I finish tuning, and I sit there and play for half an hour or something. If I'm tuning a piano in a nursing home, retirement home, it is absolutely my pleasure to then play for half an hour or an hour after I finish tuning. I do not charge you 1 cent more. I just think bringing the joy of music, particularly the piano, into the lounge or wherever the piano might be located in a retirement village or over 65s village or whatever it might be. Yeah, I think that's something pretty special. So I do a lot of that as well. I work on concert pianos for all the visiting concert pianists that come to Australia, Queensland and Tasmania. So yeah, I've been doing it a long time. So, but I cannot stress enough the importance of having the piano tuned. There are only a few of the things I've mentioned now. I mean, I haven't even begun to mention about the development of a piano student's ear and hearing and pitch if the piano is not tuned to concert pitch. If the piano keys are sluggish and something's not right with some of the keys, they're not going to learn as they should. They might suddenly take a bit of a dislike, might have the opposite effect. And then all of a sudden, they don't want to play because their piano's not sounding like the keyboards do at school or a teacher's piano or something like that. So there's another reason why, you know, and another reason why to get your children into music. So yeah, so let's, if you'd like to make a booking and get me to come along and tune your piano at your home or, as I said, retirement village, nursing homes, concert halls, town halls, I do them all over Tasmania and all throughout southeast Queensland. And as you can tell, I really, really do love what I do. I think the piano is something magic. We have hundreds of years of development sitting right here. And I'm sitting at something that Mozart, Beethoven sat at. Okay, so yeah, I think it's something magic. So my website, phone number, everything's right here, plus a lot of information. So yeah, if you do have a piano, want me to tune it, service, if you've got some things wrong with it, I can fix it all up for you and have it sounding magic. The oldest piano I've worked on, by the way, for those that are probably thinking, yeah, he's mentioned a 100-year-old piano. The oldest piano I've worked on was actually built somewhere in the 1780s, 1790s. Like the piano only came to be 1720, 1740. So the oldest piano, I've actually pulled it all to pieces, repaired it all, fixed it up and put it all back together, and it sounds beautiful. Most of the older pianos that I do are in the mid-late 1800s, coming into 1910. They're a lot of, when I say an old piano, anything from about 1940, 1950 to today, I don't consider it to be an old piano, okay? A lot of the metals and things are used in it, which are still used in pianos today. The action's the same as what pianos are today. So yeah, so give me a call. If you're looking for a piano and you find a second-hand one, I can also have a look at that for you and just check it out to make sure there's nothing majorly wrong with it before you buy it. You don't want to have to spend couple of $1,000 on having it all fixed up and repaired if you go and buy one, a second-hand that's maybe not quite as good. So anyway, that's all from me. All my details are below. And enjoy your music.